Tomatoes arrived in Japan in 1600, just 10 years after they arrived in the UK. So, tomatoes are not native in the UK and they're not native in Japan either. But how important are they in the diets of these two countries? What do you think? When I arrived in Japan in 1999, I was surprised how few tomatoes there were in supermarkets. And also I was surprised that the variety of tomatoes was so small. There were only a few different varieties of tomato. As the years have gone by, there seems to be more and more types of tomato in Japan. So they're becoming more popular, I think. But still, I think the popularity of tomatoes is greater in the UK. Also in the UK, there are lots of products which are based on tomatoes, such as this tomato soup. There's Japanese written on this can, so this is marketed for Japan. But this tomato soup is relatively difficult to find. I only know a few places in Kyoto that I can buy it. And even then, it's not always there. And there are many other products in Britain that have tomatoes. So tomato products are relatively rare in Japan compared to the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, at the moment, in the United Kingdom, tomatoes are very scarce. It's very hard to buy them at the moment. Many of the large supermarket chains are rationing tomatoes, so you can only buy a small amount. So, this is a very controversial thing in Britain at the moment, because British people consume a lot of tomatoes. But depending on different political beliefs, we hear lots of different reasons for why those tomatoes are not available at the moment. Some politicians say it's because of bad weather in Spain and the number of tomatoes is far less. Others say it's because of the cost of electricity in the Netherlands, that farmers there are not growing tomatoes at the moment because they can't afford electricity. Other people are saying because of Brexit, truck drivers from Europe are not happy to come to Britain. So it's difficult to get deliveries of tomatoes to Britain. So there are so many narratives around why there's a shortage of tomatoes in Britain. And to be honest, I don't truly believe any of them. And at the same time, I believe all of them. There's some truth in each of these things. And together, they're causing the shortage. All three of them, I believe. But politicians are choosing one thing to focus on because of their own narrative. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? If this is a small inconvenience for a few weeks for British people, maybe it doesn't really matter. Occasionally things go wrong and we get shortages. But what if it's something worse? What if it's a harbinger for something worse? The first things to start becoming scarce, the first things to have shortages. Maybe this is the beginning of something worse. Of course, it might not be. But I don't want to hear the voices of politicians telling me one thing or another. I want to hear the voices of scientists. I want to know what the true reasons are. We need to think about food security in the future. In my opinion, countries like Britain and Japan too are in danger because we rely on so much imported food. There's not enough self-reliance when it comes to food. We really need good research into sustainable food. And we need to hear the voices of scientists, I believe. I think the time for listening to politicians has gone. This is such an important thing for our security. But that's just my opinion. What's your opinion? For those taking classes this week, we'll be discussing it. If you're not taking a class with me and you want to comment, write something down below. もしこのビデオが気に入ったらいいねをお願いします。Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.